gasoline like water. Well, we've been turning wrenches day and night. Well, we don't mind one bit if we get greasy, as long as every nut and bolt is tight. Keep on striving, keep on driving, keep on rolling down the road. The back streets of our dreams just keep on winding. They're leading us to highways paved with gold. Well, we know that as long as we keep driving, we ain't never ever growing old. Keep on striving, keep on driving, keep on rolling down the road.
Holy, look at the stove in this bad boy. So this is a 1959 Chevrolet El Camino, and it did not come with this motor in. What the hell is that, and how did you fit it in there?
That is a 1970 454 Chevy mill.
Nice. Big block.
Yeah, and I think it was put in with a lot of hammers. If you look at the headers, they've kind of been massaged to
There's
kind
some
of clear the
modifications
air.
down there.
So you had to work pretty hard to squeeze that in there, did you?
Yep.
Wow. This car is highly modified.
Oh, yeah.
Not just the engine, all over it, right?
No, everything on this, like there's some components of it are original. The rad is original. Motor, the drivetrain, nothing's original in there.
There's so many cars around our city, so many modified vehicles, like per capita, we're ranking probably right at the top there.
Oh yeah, you can't go a block in this town without seeing it.
You know what we should do, Jason? We should line up a whole bunch of them and get him to take them for a test drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Hopefully these guys will be down with letting us drive some crazy stuff. So I'll tell you guys what, the more sinister the better.
Oh yeah.
Let's go find some badass rides.
All right, we've got a mission.
All right, cool. Oh yeah, these louvers just look sick on here, dude. I love them.
When's the last time you ever got the big power wagon stuck?
Never actually, not yet.
Looks like we're gonna need a ladder to get into this thing.
Just about.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Seen this interior a few times before. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about it.
It's a 1965 Fargo Power Wagon, and I found it out in Sioux Lookout, Ontario. I was searching for a big truck to use because our Manitoba laws, there's a lift height, so I wanted a truck over 10,000 GVW, and that way you don't have to worry about the height and that.
How long did it take you to get it to look like this?
Oh, about 3 or 4 months.
Lots of ground clearance, I see.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you're not getting that hung up anytime soon. You know what? I've got a big question for you here.
Uh-huh.
Would you mind if Willie took the truck for a test drive?
Not a problem.
Awesome.
He
That's
can
great.
have at it.
Well, Richard, it was good seeing you again.
Okay, thanks a lot,
And we will
Evel.
see you at the test track.
No problem. Thanks
All
a lot,
right.
Evel.
Hey Tony, how's it going? So what kind of motor you got there?
Jason, this is a 350 Olds Rocket. This was taken out of a 1977 Oldsmobile Vista Cruiser station wagon.
Kind of a neat air cleaner you got on there.
The old Cadillac Batwing air cleaners.
Did you do the paint and stuff yourself?
All the paint was done myself. All the assembly was done by myself. A lot of the fabrication, like the grill, side skirts, that was all done with the help of my friend Peter. The engine, the old one was taken out actually by the students over at River East Collegiate. Mark Burton put in the new 350 Rocket in there. We had to modify all the cross member and the motor mounts and all that kind of stuff to fit it in there.
The interior in this car looks really sweet.
The seats were done by my buddy Daryl, and the door panels were all stitched up by my buddy Garth. Foot-activated turn signals on the floor there. 23-inch low-car shifter, gauges, all been repainted.
I noticed you got George Barris's autograph over there too.
He signed that for me at the World of Wheels.
So is the interior basically stock? Like that's the original steering wheel and
Original
everything?
steering wheel. Yeah, it's basically stock. Original seats, just all redone.
You've been driving this one a lot?
For about 5 years now.
What kind of hubcaps you got on there?
These are the old Fiesta hubcaps, Oldsmobile. The white walls, those are original wide white walls off of 57 Chevy Bel Air.
Would you be willing to let Willie take this for a test drive?
Oh, sure, anytime, yeah.
Cool.
Dave told me you're having a test drive.
Good to see you, man.
You bet.
Richard from Pro Towing. So we got us here a 1965 Fargo Power Wagon. Obviously, this did not come off the showroom floor like this. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what you've done to it?
Oh, it was a dump truck, dually dump truck, an 11-foot bed. So I shortened up the wheelbase and I single wheeled it, got rid of a couple tires and rims. Then I put a little bit taller tire on it.
So when you say you shortened it, then basically the frame at one point was like back here, and there was another set of wheels on here, right?
Correct.
What's the advantage of making it shorter like this?
It's nice to have it a little bit lighter and shorter to drive around in the mud.
When I noticed here you've got a assembly of fairly big chains here, and you're the guy that when a dummy like me goes and rents a truck or gets a new 4x4 or borrows his dad's truck and gets it stuck at the floodway up to the axles in muck, you come and pull guys out, right?
That's right, yeah.
So what kind of stuff have you pulled out with this truck?
All sorts of things. Anything from a Hummer to a Samurai to Jeeps,
Cool.
minivans.
What do you run under the hood in this truck?
A 318 two-barrel and a 4-speed standard 205 transfer case.
You drive this truck all the time?
Correct, yeah.
You drive it on
It's my
city
daily
streets
driver.
everywhere?
Yeah.
So what's the reaction from people when they see you driving
People
this?
freak out. They get out of the way.
I bet they get out of the way, yeah, for sure. So you're gonna let me take this thing for a ride,
Yeah,
eh?
you bet.
Do you mind if I take it and play around in the grass a little bit too, or?
Yeah.
Good, right
Go
on.
ahead.
Well, I'm glad you're here, buddy. I'm looking forward to driving it. Cool.
I tried to sell it on my deathbed, but it seems it had a funny smell. I tried to sell it on my deathbed, but it seems it had a funny
It don't rain enough around here to ever get this truck stuck. This is the truck that people who have big trucks call when they got their big truck stuck. The cool thing about it is even though we're about 20 feet off the ground and we got these massive tires, you know, it's pretty much a classic ride. It's got the nice big steering wheel on it. It's got the 4-speed tranny with the bull low, so you're able to drive away in second gear. You know, we haven't even had to engage the 4-wheel drive in it. The transition from pavement to grass is just like almost effortless. You know, though, because it's so tall, you do get the feeling when you try and make a sharp U-turn, you are conscious of the fact that, you know, you could tip this puppy over without too much trouble. It's such a simple, clean machine, and everything works well on it. You know, the seat's comfortable, the steering wheel's in a good position, there's plenty of room. You just get the feeling that you could drive off-road in this truck forever and a day. There's a big part of me that just wishes we had a mud bog right now that we could pour through full throttle at about 40 miles an hour, but I think we'll leave that to the professionals. You know, what kid doesn't want to drive the biggest truck around, and that's what this one is for sure. The 1965 Fargo Power Wagon. Richard says this truck's worth $10,000. I think it's worth a hell of a lot more than that, but that's the number he gave on it. We're gonna stick with that. Love it. All right. Sweet. The Rat Rod. Flat black, Fiesta hubcaps, wide whites. This is a badass car. The Rat Boss. 1959 Oldsmobile Dynamic 88. Two-door hardtop. Sweet. Tie hanging out the back, a lead sled. This is a tight car. I can't wait to drive this car. This car's cool. All right, let's see what we got cooking in the stove here. All right, no knocking, it's a rocket. Look at that. Looks to be about a 1976, 1977 Oldsmobile Rocket. Popular in a Vista Cruiser, probably came out of a Vista Cruiser station wagon. Can't wait to get down this track in this car. It's gonna be neat. All right. Oh man, I instantly feel cooler the minute I get in this car. Let's see what she's got. One of the cool things about the whole rat rod scene is that, you know, it blends a lot of things. It blends punk rock styling, it blends rockabilly styling, and then it sort of blends the, you know, sort of the junkyard style of a car. And that's what I like about rat rods, is that you don't have to stick true to one thing. Really, when you get into a car like this, that's what it's about. It's fun, but it's got attitude as well. So there's style and there's fun and there's attitude all blended into cars like this. Winnipeg has been a fairly premier city for rat rods, and there's another club, in addition to the River City Rat Rods, there's another club called the Riff Raff Car Club. You know, they wear the leather jackets, and you know, if you can picture sort of a James Dean style or a Arthur Fonzarelli, the Fonz type style. I just think that in terms of the whole hobby in itself, that the rat rod and the subculture that it has created is just absolutely important and integral to the future of hot rodding, because you get a young guy and he doesn't have that $25,000, $30,000 to build himself up this massive rod that's going to be at every kind of car show. You pull up at a gas station and somebody that's not in the know about the whole rat rod culture will walk up to you and say, "Wow, mister, is that ever a cool car? What color are you going to paint it?" You know, it goes back to the old Harley Davidson advertising where it says, you know, if I have to explain it to you, then you wouldn't understand. Kind of a pretentious statement, but the same rings true with rat rods. This car is staying flat black, and you know what, I'll tell you what, I would not touch a single thing on this car. This car to me is done exactly the way I would like it. This car is just a cool car exactly the way it is. All right, we just went for a cruise in Tony Costa's 1959 Oldsmobile Dynamic, and I gotta tell you, this is one sweet ride. And you know what, if this car was in pristine, original condition, flashy paint job on it, the whole deal, it would be a big, highly sought after big dollar car. Even in its present state, with the flat black paint job on it and the 350 rocket under the hood, I'd estimate this car worth a minimum $20,000.
Hey Curtis, how
Hey
you doing?
Jason, how you doing?
So what is this?
It's a 1936 Ford 5-window coupe. Built it all myself. Pulled it out of a wrecking yard actually and saved it.
A lot of fabricating making this one.
Yeah, there's been quite a bit went into this one. The frame is all redone. It's been boxed with a Mustang clip in the front. The engine is a Chevy 350 with a turbo 350 transmission.
These flames are really neat. You do those yourself?
I had a friend do those for me. It's the first time he had sprayed flames and really happy with the outcome of them.
The roll down window, is that original?
From what I understand, when you had a person sitting in the rumble seat, the driver could communicate with the person sitting in the rumble seat. So that's the reason for the rear roll down window.
I noticed you got the cutouts on here. You ever had at the track?
Never actually raced the car, no. Cutouts for the most part are open all the time. I just like the sound of it. It's because of a little bit of hot rod flavor.
Would you be okay with Willie test driving this one?
I think we should do that.
Wow, well that's a hot rod.
This is like the perfect hot rod.
Yeah, 1936 Ford 5-window coupe.
Yeah.
Loving it. Is there anything I need to know? Anything special to drive it?
Not really. Just a little less talk and a lot more driving.
All right. Say no more. The best idea ever. A Ford powered by Chevrolet. You know, when I was a kid, growing up in the 70s, my dad had a 1939 Ford coupe very similar to this car. Now my dad's car was nowhere near as sharp as this one, but it was pretty close. One thing I learned from my dad, you got one hand right here on the steering wheel, and you gotta have the other arm hanging out, and you gotta get a certain posture when you drive a street rod like this. You gotta get yourself kind of hunkered down in the seat. Man, this is a sweet ride. What a street rod is by definition is a car built prior to 1949 that's been modified. So this car obviously is older than the 1949 model. It's been heavily modified. This is a very desirable car. There's not a lot of 36 Fords around. In fact, in the local scene here, I can only think of a couple, whereas cars like 40 Fords, you know, there's probably a handful of them or 10 of them just in Winnipeg alone. I know that Curtis is a fairly good mechanic himself, so I'm reasonably certain that he did the vast majority of the work on this car himself. And a lot of hot rods too, cars like this, they're not built, you know, like in a couple of weeks. Often you'll hear of guys who've been working on the same project for, you know, 10 years is not unusual. The other thing is that it's nostalgic. These licks like this are just classic flames that are never going to go out of style. You know, original Moon hubcaps never going to go out of style. A 350 Chev powertrain straight up. A red sort of diner-inspired interior. All this stuff is just timeless. Then, you know, you take this car and tuck it away in a barn and pull it out 50 years from now, and I'll guarantee you there's going to be a young guy out there who's just going to be dying for it. He might not be able to find any gasoline to run the motor, but he'll know he found something special.
Oh, it's a hard way to live, but it's the only way I know how.
You know, for a show about modified cars, I can't think of a better ride than this hot rod right here. Man, what a beauty. You know, it's really difficult to assess a value on a hot rod car, but I'll tell you what, if I had a spare 40 grand kicking around, I'd have no problem handing it over to Curtis to get the keys to this car. What a beauty. All right, Travis, cool. How you doing, buddy?
Not too bad, Willy.
Right on. Thanks for bringing the car down. So this Ford is how old then? Let's do some quick math here. You know what? It's almost 100 years old.
88 years old.
88 years old. Man, is that awesome. So where'd you get this car from?
I found it in a field in Warren, Manitoba. Yeah, when I found it, it was a tarp with a windshield sticking out of it. I wanted a Model T, knew it was a T windshield, didn't even know what I bought.
And there was rumors this car was like featured in Hot Rod magazine at one time and the whole deal, right?
It was.
Cool. So what do you got right here under where the hood should be?
350 with a Performer Plus cam.
So she gets up and goes, right?
It does.
Yeah, cool.
1,300 pound car with wooden floors.
Nice. And I'm looking at this right here. Tell me what this is all about right here.
It's an homage to Ed Big Daddy Roth. I had a jeweler actually make that for me. He took a cast of a sidewalk surfer toy from the 50s and made a mold.
So tell me about Ed Big Daddy Roth and why he inspires you.
He invented car culture.
So you got Ed Roth all over this car. I noticed you got a little homage to him on the back here. And so this is the rat right here, the rat Fink. And who painted this beautiful stuff for you on the back here?
Painted by a local artist, Kevin Wilson. He's been airbrushing for about 25 years.
Wow, you did an amazing job. So is this your fuel tank, this Moon tank right here?
That's a pre-serial numbered Moon tank. It's
very cool.
Been on the car since the 50s.
Awesome. So how much fuel does it hold?
10 gallon tank.
Yeah.
About $15 worth of gas.
So how far will that get you?
To the next gas station.
Nice, right on, cool. So this car, you drive it all the time? You go down the road?
All the time. For 2 years, it was my daily driver.
Wow, so what kind of attention does it get?
Pulled over 40-something times.
So Johnny Law's all over this car when he sees it.
Yep.
Do you think sometimes the police might just be pulling you over to have a closer look at the car? I would believe so too. Now this interior is cool too with the lime green here. Who did that up for you?
Omar from Omar's Upholstery through Fat Ride Customs.
Cool. So right here in Winnipeg, all this stuff done, right?
Happened in 24 hours before a car show.
Do you think I'll actually be able to drive this car?
I think it'll be interesting.
There's a couple of tricks to driving it, right?
Yeah, oh, there are a few tricks.
And it's pretty tight in there too.
Yeah.
I noticed the pedals are a little bit different here. You got the R and the F there for the rat fink. So you just cut those out of some steel, or?
I did.
You must have spent some time doing that.
Not really.
No? You have a lot of time into this car?
Not really. When we actually pulled it out of the field, we put it togetger in 5 days.
All right, well, I'm going to give it my best shot, man.
Excellent.
Yeah, right on. Thanks, dude.
Well, I'm a rat fink, and I live the life. The rat finks only come out at night. Well, with the devil and Big Daddy too. Well, I'm a rat fink motor, and nothing good is new.
Driving this car is a lot like driving somebody's chopper. For one thing, my feet are way too big, as is my body. It pulls in every direction. It's scary fast, and it's got no brakes. That combination is what I would best describe as lethal and extremely invigorating. The fact that the shifter is a massive link of chain with a shrunken head with real human hair on the top of it just sort of adds to the entire, oh my God, I'm gonna die type thing that's going on here. I'll tell you, it really hauls ass. That moon tank in the back, it kind of tends to roll back and forth a little bit, and when it does that, it makes the car run out of gas for a second. I'm thinking Travis probably could have fixed that, but maybe he didn't, because the end result is that when that big carburetor does get some fuel finally, there's a nice flame show coming out of the front of there. I try to imagine the guys in the 40s, right after the Second World War, you know, they just came back from flying crazy-ass airplanes and driving tanks, and they were bored. So what they did is they built hot rods like this car, and they drove them. I gotta tell you, this car's a workout to drive, but it's a hell of a lot of fun, though.
Yeah, nothing good is new.
What a wild ride. I could not imagine driving this car around the streets of Winnipeg every day as my daily driver. You know what? Travis was recently offered $25,000 for this car and he turned it down. And after running it up and down the track at about 100 miles an hour, I can totally see why. I would easily value this car at 25 grand all day long. Oh yeah, look at that bad boy. All right.
Hey, Paul,
Doug
how's
from
it going?
Custom One Cycle, right on, man. Good to see you.
Nice to see
So
you.
holy man, where is your shop where you sell these beautiful machines?
Right in Selkirk, right on Main Street.
Cool,
Yep.
man. So tell me about this. What is it?
This is a Saxon motorcycle. This is the Griffin model. It has a 300 rear tire
So when you
on
say
it.
300 rear tire, that means it's 300 millimeters wide?
Yes.
Holy, is that thing fat?
Yeah.
So what's this motor all about right here?
That's an S&S motor. It's a 111 cubic inch.
And what about the transmission on it too?
That's a Primo Riviera 6-speed
Wow.
transmission, right-hand drive.
Cool.
We've added an LB racing pipe to this bike. We put a Da Vinci XXX carburetor on,
Cool.
just squeaking a little more horsepower out of it.
This bike right here was bought by a customer already? It's already owned by a guy?
Yes, it's owned by a guy
He's
in
a trusting
Selkirk.
guy to let a big dummy like me take it for a ride, isn't he? What's your experience on them?
Love them.
How about the reaction of the public when they see you on the street? with them?
They can't believe you mean by that in Manitoba.
Wow. So you were a Harley guy prior to this and had ridden the bikes for years?
Yes. I like all bikes.
Amen, I hear
We
you.
look after everybody. As long as they're riding, that's our motto.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. So you're actually going to let me ride this bad boy?
Oh, yes. yes.
Oh,
We're
man.
going to get you on it.
I can't thank you enough, dude. I'm just so excited about this, Doug. Oh, my
We'll
God.
get this thing fired up right
Oh,
away
of
for
all
you.
of all the stuff, this is the one that I've just been dreaming about at night, thinking, man, is this going to be a neat bike to ride for sure.
You're going to love it.
Well, now you go and get the money for this very, very organized crime. Oh yeah, in 3 short minutes we will slowly drive away. And we will never, ever talk about this day.
Holy man, that's what I'm talking about right now. Welcome to the world of Saxon choppers. You know what? Doug says this spike right here is worth $40,000. I could take it right off the showroom floor right now. And if you ask me, man, it's worth every penny. The only question I have is, will he take a check?
Nerves of steel. I'm the driver. Yeah, I'm the real.
With cars like these, all you need to do is basically just, dust a little bit of the, oh yeah, you know what, Tony, your car blows balls. Okay, we need to
pump those brakes and get us turned around here, man.
We have no
Downshift,
brakes.
downshift.
I still need some more shots.
Okay.
We're gonna
Wow.
Okay, just go slow from here on out, okay? It's nice and slow. Nice and slow. Nice and slow.
This car is staying flat black. As far as I know, the owner has no intentions of ever painting it any kind of shiny color or anything like that. And you know, I really don't ever see that happening. This car is just a cool car, exactly the way it is, except for the fact that it has no brakes. Yeah, your car has no brakes. No brakes.